studios in Oklahoma City. This is the Press Row. We are brought to you by Papa John's. Go online right now and order your pizza at papajohns.com. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our inbox segment. Your email questions answered right here on video. Let's start with this one from Dick. He says, another unknown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope sets a career high versus the Thunder. What is it? Yeah, he's talking about the piston that came out of nowhere to almost ruin the Thunder's chance at a #2 seed.
Well, what it is bad defense. Now, if it'd been just Jody Meeks or just Gerald Green or just Tyreek Evans or just Cantankerous Caldwell-Pope, you might say, well, lucky night. But we've had 4 guys have career nights against the Thunder here in recent weeks, and only Tyreek Evans is a guy that you really could say, hey, he's capable. So I think the Thunder's just been lax on defense. They're not getting in front of guys. They're not getting out on the three-point line. It's something they've got to fix and quick, or these playoffs are going to end quickly for the Thunder.
Yeah, they do have to get it going because if you haven't noticed, there's a guy on the Grizzlies that is primed to be that next little-known guy that shoots the Thunder to pieces. His name is Mike Miller. He almost signed with the Thunder over the offseason, decided to go to Memphis. He's the kind of guy you could see coming out of nowhere and doing damage. But then they've got other guys. I mean, what about Quincy Pondexter? What if Tony Allen goes crazy for them? I mean, at this point, you just don't know. But to me, it's a question of perimeter defense, and that's really not the Grizzlies' strength. I mean, clearly their big men are their strength. But still, they've got capable guys. If they get going, could really make a difference. So guys like Russell Westbrook, Reggie Jackson, Kevin Durant, they got to get out and guard, for crying out loud. Or you're going to see some names that you don't know having big nights once again. All right, what about John's question from the inbox? He says, now that Notre Dame has decided to go with field turf, I wonder what you thought about the change. I know the answer to this question.
Well, I mean, I think it's a shame that, a tradition-rich place like Notre Dame goes away from natural grass. But I will say this, the good people of Indiana know more about it than I do. Apparently, about 4 years ago, they started having Notre Dame graduation in the stadium. For whatever reason, that tears up the field. They've had trouble getting grass to grow well during the football season. I don't understand it. You'd think they could come up with a better solution, but I know Notre Dame protects its tradition. It honors its past and its history as much as anybody, any school, any organization in sport. If they feel like that's the way to go, they probably have a good reason, but it is a shame.
Yeah, it really is a shame. I have a friend that's on the training staff up there involved with the football team, and I happened to hear from him the day that news was announced, and he sent me a picture of the field from that day. And, it's as spring is turning and you start to really think about stuff greening up and those sorts of things, the picture was clearly showing that field was just not in good shape. Lots of brown areas, wear and tear out there. It's a shame that it's not that lush green, stretch of grass that you expect the field of Notre Dame to be, but it's clearly not, and they've decided that they're not going to have any more questions. They're just going to take care of it. But it is weird to think about that turf where so many great teams and great players have played not to be natural grass anymore. Ugh, kind of tugs at your traditional heartstrings there. All right, what about this one from Stephen Barry? He says, how many national media guys refer to Oklahoma City as Oak City? Nobody, and I mean nobody, from this area refers to our dear city as Oak City. This gets under a lot of skin, Barry.
Yeah, and then some people say Okie City or Okie State, referring to OSU. I don't tend to worry about stuff like this. As long as they're talking about Oklahoma City, I think that's good. Most people say OKC. When I was a kid, OKC was not a strong phrase. Nobody much used it. Now it's known nationally, coast to coast. OKC, Oklahoma City, everybody knows it. So I'm not going to begrudge it when when somebody starts talking about using a phrase like Oak City. I just can't summon up the angst over it when I know how much the NBA has done for the city's profile. If some people want to use the wrong word, the wrong phrase, what do I care?
I'm a little bit on the side of, was it Thomas? Is that who we're talking to here? I'm a little on his side because if you think about other cities that have gone short, KC, Indy, NYC, wherever you want to talk about, it's generally a term that people there would use. He's right. Nobody here says Oak City. Are these national people trying to be cool? Are they trying to get in by calling us Oak City? Hey.
They just don't know. Nobody
calls us Oak City. This just in. We're telling you. Now you know. Cut it out.
I'm told that San Francisco hates the
San Fran?
No, Frisco. They don't like Frisco. But, a lot of people say Frisco. I don't know if they should, but I mean, that's what happens when you hit the major limelight. People tend to say things.
I'll go with San Fran, but yeah, I'm anti-Oak City. All right, last one from Bob. He says, after watching the OU spring game, I sincerely feel that if he was eligible to play this upcoming season, Baker Mayfield would end up the starting quarterback. He outperformed all the other quarterbacks, hands down.
Please, don't take this wrong, Bob, but that's a major overreaction. Baker Mayfield's going against the second-team defense, which means...
If that, Barry.
It means no Charles Tapper, no Zach Sanchez, no Jordan Evans and Dominique Alexander, and no Eric Stryker. Meanwhile, Trevor Knight's out there going against those guys. They know his plays. He's got no Sterling Shepard. He's got both his offensive tackles are out. I think it's an overreaction. I'm not saying that Trevor Knight's a superstar. I'm not saying he can ever replicate his performance in the Sugar Bowl. But I will say this. He's done it once, which puts him ahead of the game of Baker Mayfield. I actually analyzed Baker Mayfield's stats from last year when he quarterbacked 7 or 8 games for Tech. He played very solid in some games, but when he played Big 12 teams, not so good. So I think Trevor Knight's history, including the spring game, is more advanced than Baker Mayfield's. I think the Sooners have their quarterback whether Baker Mayfield was eligible or not.
You've written about this. I've written about this. Jason Kersey's written about this, about Trevor Knight's rough spring game, and something I'm not sure, even in all that writing about it, I'm not sure we hit on the thing that, as I've thought about it more and more, that I keep coming back to. Trevor Knight not running the ball and not being able to unleash that elusiveness that we saw, to me, that's probably an underappreciated aspect of his struggles. And that's the way it's set up. You don't want to get your quarterback hurt. You're going to have, first touch, guy's done, he's dead. The defense knows that. When Trevor Knight is in a live game situation, the defense has no idea what he's going to do. Throw it, run it, extend plays, scramble around, get away from guys. That puts every defensive player on the field on edge, makes them maybe half a step slower, opens up things that weren't there on Saturday. To me, Trevor Knight said, that changes some plays. To me, that changes every single play he's on the field. I think that made a huge difference. Now, he still threw some bad balls, no doubt about it. But to me, open up that aspect of the game, I think he looks a lot different, even against the OU defense. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.